Everybody gonna take care of this news. We gotta get up out of here. Gotta handle something, but we're gonna take care of it. This is the last thing I was doing before the other HHN coming over. Was talking about the AI governance, so might as well just get it on out the way. HHN Special Report. Every back again.
We talk about what we're about to talk about, you might question the use of AI entirely. I think it's a great tool for our everyday life. It is helpful. It's kind of like using the internet, Google search, or using a calculator to calculate certain things, just a computer in general or a cell phone. These technologies are useful. We want them in our daily lives. They've made it better, but AI has a very, very scary side to it, and that is it can take over the world. Now, I'm not exaggerating this. AI has shown that without guardrails, it can do some serious damage to governments, to entities, to our lives. And it has been happening time and time again. Nonetheless, our government is demanding right now that Claude AI be handed over to the Pentagon without guardrails. Like, they do not want Claude AI to have any sort of safety guardrails put in there that would hinder the U.S. government using the AI the way that they want. And we've already shown that the government isn't exactly ethical or moral or even doing what's best for people, willing to do all kinds of really shady things in order to get ahead. That is not really a good thing. But let me just show you some of the things that's been going on with AI and why it's so scary that our government wants it without those guardrails. First of all, this is from Engadget. Hacker used Anthropic's Claude chatbot to attack multiple government agencies in Mexico. This resulted in the theft of tax and voter information. So what happened was a hacker exploited Anthropic's Claude chatbot to carry out attacks against Mexican government agencies. This resulted in the theft of 150 gigabytes of official government data, including taxpayer records, employee credentials, and more. The hacker used Claude to find vulnerabilities in government networks and to write scripts to exploit them. It also tasked the chatbot with finding ways to automate data theft, as indicated by cybersecurity company Gambit Security. Now, this started in December and continued for about a month. Now, this was just a hacker. This was not a government. Imagine the AI in the hands of a government. This was just a random hacker that was like, you know what?
The AI in the hands of the government, they still doing the same shit.
Safety mechanisms, and I could probably get it to hack a government, and it did. I mean, this random hacker was able to get it to do that. So basically, what the hacker was able to do was essentially jailbreak Claude with prompts, finally bypassing the chatbot's guardrails. Claude originally refused the nefarious demands until the bot eventually relented. How? Not sure. The hacker was able to figure it out. And also the hacker apparently was using ChatGPT alongside Claude in order to get the job done. In total, it produced thousands of detailed reports that included ready-to-execute plans, telling the human operator exactly which internal targets to attack next and what credentials to use. Anthropic has investigated the claims, disrupted the activity, and banned all of the accounts involved. But okay, that's after the fact. The spokesperson also said that in its latest model, Claude Opus 4.6 includes tools to disrupt this kind of misuse. Yeah, right. Some other person smarter than you is going to figure this out, or other AI smarter than you is going to figure out how to use other AI to manipulate. It says the hacker remains unidentified. The attacks haven't been attributed to a specific group, but Gambit Security did suggest they could be tied to a foreign government. It's also unclear what the hacker wants to do with all of that data. So now we've created a tool that is way smarter than any person. It would take a team of people, months and months and months to hack into a government database like this. And yet a single hacker with the use of AI was able to do it in a matter of a very short period of time. And now we want to hand over all of this AI that's been developed to governments. Now, look, the United States is not the only ones creating it, so it's not like we have full control over AI. I mean, China's also on the AI game. Plenty of countries are. So it's a lot. Excuse me. This whole thing I'm allergic to all of this. It's you're both sound I'm allergic to.
Yes.
Okay, so Mexico's National Digital Agency hasn't commented on the breach, but did note that cybersecurity is a priority. The state government of Jalisco denies that it was breached, saying only federal networks were impacted. However, Mexico's National Electoral Institute also denied any breaches or unauthorized access in recent months. It's worth noting that Gambit found at least 20 security vulnerabilities during its research that the country is likely not keen on highlighting. Yeah, which country wants to admit that they've just been hacked? The fact that you can hack into one means you can hack into many others. But that's just, one of the very scary uses of AI right now is that this is a tool that now you don't need a team of sophisticated hackers in order to hack into an ultra secure database. You just need one lone person and AI. And maybe not even a person in the future. You maybe just get AI to do it. And that's kind of what the US government wants with Claude. The US government is saying, give us everything without any of these damn guardrails or else. So here's a story from Axios. Hegseth gives Anthropic until Friday to back down on AI safeguards. So they're saying that Hegseth said, Hegseth told the CEO of Anthropic's Claude, Dario Amodei, that he has until Friday evening to give the military unfettered access to its AI model or face penalties.
Wow.
So he told him yesterday that the Pentagon would either cut ties and declare Anthropic a supply chain risk or invoke the Defense Production Act to force the company to tailor its model to the military's needs. So the Pentagon wants to punish Anthropic because it doesn't want to give up the safeguard. It doesn't want to take away the safety rails. And now it's getting nasty. The officials are saying, give it to us or else, we're going to punish you. Quote says, the only reason we're still talking to these people is we need them, and we need them now. The problem for these guys is they're that good, a defense official told Axios.
Wow.
Anthropic has said it's willing to adapt its usage policies for the Pentagon, but not to allow its model to be used for the mass surveillance of Americans or the development of weapons that fire without human involvement. That seems reasonable to me, but the U.S. government is saying, no, give it to us. You don't get to dictate how we use it. Says Anthropic's Claude right now is the only AI model currently used for the military's most sensitive work. So they're in a position of power right now with the U.S. government, and the U.S. government is saying, give it to us. It's like a drug, right? Give it to us, rah, or else. A senior defense official said the meeting was not warm and fuzzy at all. Another source told Axios it remained cordial with no voices raised. Okay, but Hegseth did tell Modi that he won't let any company dictate the terms under which the Pentagon makes operational decisions or object to individual use cases. Hegseth specifically mentioned the Pentagon's claim that Anthropic raised concerns to partner Palantir over the use of Claude during the Maduro raid, because they used Claude for Maduro's raid. And basically Pete Hegseth kind of said, if we buy planes from Boeing, Boeing doesn't tell us how to use the planes. And so he's saying, yeah, okay. But an airplane's a lot different than AI that can really do some serious damage and spying and all kinds of different things. But this is the Anthropic CEO talking about why he's very wary about giving the U.S. government.
Excuse me, sir.
He's very wary about giving the U.S. government the keys to the kingdom without any guardrails.
That's one reason why I'm worried about the autonomous drone swarm, right? So, the constitutional protections in our military structures depend on the idea that there are humans who would, we hope, disobey illegal orders. With fully autonomous weapons, we don't necessarily have those protections. But I actually think this whole idea of constitutional rights and liberty along many different dimensions, can be undermined by AI if we don't update these protections appropriately. So, think about the Fourth Amendment. It is not illegal to, put cameras around everywhere in public space and, record every conversation. It's a public space. You don't have a right to privacy in a public space. But today, the government couldn't record that all and make sense of it. With AI, the ability to transcribe speech, to look through it, correlate it all, you could say, oh, there's this, this person is a member of the opposition. This person is expressing this view, and make a map of all 100 million. And so, are you going to make a mockery of the Fourth Amendment by the technology finding kind of technical ways around it? And so, again, if we had the time, and we should do this, we should try to do this, even if we don't have the time. Is there some way of reconceptualizing constitutional rights and liberties in the age of AI? Like, we don't just write a new constitutional, but
but you have to do this very fast.
Do we expand the meaning of the Fourth Amendment? Do we expand the meaning of the First Amendment?
Yeah, I mean, this guy sounds reasonable to me. That the main thing is the human that says to the government that's gone rogue, no, I will not do it. I will not do what you want me to do. It is inhumane. I'm not going to exterminate this entire group of people. That is what we would rely on, as those human guardrails. And what the government wants, what our U.S. government wants, what the Pentagon wants, is to remove those guardrails. Now, remember, you might champion Pete Hegseth. You might think he's such a cool bro who could bench 350 pounds, and you just love the guy. But the Trump administration will not always be in charge of these weapons. These weapons will go to someone else. And you don't know who that someone else is. And do you trust that someone else with these weapons that you've created? These are weapons of mass destruction, essentially. And now our government wants them. Unfettered access, no guardrails whatsoever. Very frightening stuff. Let me just play for you this also. And by the way, the other AI companies, by the way, have said sure. And they've given the Pentagon their AI without the guardrails. Anthropic, though, is just in a position of power because the government uses their stuff more than anybody else's. So that is why they can push back. But everybody else said, okay, yeah, Anthropic is the sole holdout at this point. Let me just show you that this one is Alex Mox. He says that Anthropic's threat intelligence team found that a single actor used AI to hack 17 organizations within weeks, and this included governments, healthcare organizations, even a church. So this goes beyond, this AI usage should, in my opinion, frighten us all.
An actor pretty much conducted their entire operation using bypacking. They, within about a month's time frame, they hit about 17 organizations. In this operation, they were doing something called data extortion. So this is like a cousin to ransomware. instead of hacking into systems and locking up files so people can't use those files and then demanding a ransom, in this case, the actor is stealing sensitive data and threatening to expose it if the ransom is not paid. So in this case, they use web hacking to both infiltrate the organizations, move laterally through their networks, drop backdoors so they could have persistent access, and steal certain types of information that they could use for their extortion.
And this is the kind of thing that would ordinarily take extremely high levels of skill.
Yeah, I would say from what we saw with this actor, you would typically see that amount of activity come from like a group of cyber criminals operating over months, a month-long time frame. In this case, we saw a single person hacking into this many organizations in a matter of weeks.
So who are the victims of these vibe hacking attempts?
So they're hitting organizations in healthcare. We saw emergency services. We saw governments, defense contractors. We even saw a church being hit by this actor.
Remember how we all worried that a foreign government could hack like our electrical grid, take out our electrical grid, and then that would be devastating? Yeah, things have gotten a lot more dystopian and dire, and they're really, I mean, I don't know what to do about this. I mean, it's not like the United States is we're not the only nation in the world developing this type of AI. Obviously, foreign countries are. So, what do we do about this? But I think we are about to enter a whole different world, potentially. People are going to have to up the security, the cybersecurity game quite a bit. Is going to be of utmost importance. That's going to be a very, very growing field. I don't even, it's very scary if they could just hack into any of us and basically force a ransom. And we've been seeing companies have that happen to them of pay us all your money or else, we're going to shut you down entirely, and they end up paying the money. Now this could be done to entire governments. It could be done to individuals. I mean, this is just, we're entering quite a dystopian era. And it's one of those things where, the governments didn't catch up fast enough with the internet and all of the things that were done on the internet. They were so slow to put measures in place that would protect people from abuse on the internet. I think our government they're just really slow. So how are they going to move fast enough for AI when AI moves so incredibly fast? I'm not really sure, but it is kind of a scary, scary time, and we'll see. I guess we just kind of have to wait and see, but maybe we should just all be like limiting our dependence on tech. Just a thought. Thanks for watching this clip from the full.
All right, that's it on that one. Now, let's go to the UK.
The sheer stupidity of the UK government. Like, what do you mean that they allow real cousin marriage within their country, but they turn around and they ban fictional incest? The absolute virtue signaling from this country and the ass backwards nature of this stuff is just so insane to me. Sometimes reality is more unbelievable than fiction, because it is actually wild to me to read a headline like this. UK government announces ban on incest simulation in 18-plus content. Offenders could face several years in prison. Reminder, cousin marriage completely legal in the UK. You can marry your first cousin. Completely A-okay. I mean, there is even a post about this a year ago in r/AskUK. It is a very recent thing. It's still happening. It's crazy. It's actually insane. But let's continue reading. An amendment tabled in the Parliament makes it illegal to possess or publish such material. Offenders face up to 2 years in prison for possession and up to 5 years for distribution. I'm going to say some controversial stuff, okay? I'm probably going to piss some people off with what I'm going to say, but I never sugarcoat what I'm going to say, especially at this point. I'm going to say it. First off, they're allowing real marriage between cousins in the UK right now. It's still allowed. They are not focusing on the rape gangs in their country. They're not even acknowledging it. They're not trying to do anything about it. There is people getting harmed within their country by people, like, people doing a lot of harm to women, children, men, and they're completely A-okay with that. But if you post a meme online, a little edgy meme, cops show up at your door. If you say the wrong words online about your viewpoint on politics, they will either censor you or show up at your door. Hell, they might label you a terrorist or a Nazi because of your personal perspective that is very centric. They also, straight up want to spy on you. They want to nanny state you. They want to have everything about you, what you're saying, what you're doing at every given moment. But they allow all this other stuff to go on in real life and allow people to get hurt. This whole situation is just so much virtue signaling, so much just it's so obvious that it's just meant to censor everything and pull away from the real issues. And it's kind of like trying to say, hey, guys, look, we're doing something about this stuff in the fictional manner, stuff online that isn't real. See, we're doing something. But in reality, they're not doing anything about real issues, real problems within the country. It is actually insane. Like, if you're going to ban this type of stuff in the country, be fucking consistent. Like, just be consistent. But the fact that they're completely fine with real marriage, but then they do this, Let's put this in perspective on what this does, okay? I'm just going to outline this, okay? So first off, this does affect anime. It does. It affects manga. 100%. This affects everyone. This does. Like, anyone that, like, associates with anime and manga content that might have questionable themes and sometimes maybe what people call problematic themes within fictional content, you can now be arrested for that in the UK. For instance, if you were to watch Kiss Sis, Yoshika no Sora on Crunchyroll or wherever, or you find a site to watch it, you're going to prison. 2 years. Or 5 if you send it to your friend. Why? Actually freaking why? I'm going to assume this also is the same thing with, like, let's say literature. So that would mean that theoretically, Game of Thrones would be hit by this, because obviously you have the whole Jaime Lannister, just Lannister family in general, with and also the Targaryens within Game of Thrones. So that will be hit by this. Like, it's just so insane to me how much of a clown show the UK has become. Like, I've been talking about this situation of how it's just literally a slippery slope. It gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. But we're really seeing that. Like, it's just crazy how much I've been proven right over and over again in the last 7 to 8 months. Like, it's just nonstop that I'm continuously proven that censorship is getting worse, and they don't care about real people. They don't care about actual victims or people that have been harmed. They just care about their brownie points online and knowing what you're doing online to spy on you, gather your data, and censor you. Wild. I'm going to leave it at that, though. I wanted to talk about this because this was something that blew my mind.
Starmer's a wanker. Fuck the parliament and the government.
Man, what a start to 2016. Like, oh my goodness. I wanted to leave this shit behind back in 2025, but here we are, and it's getting worse.
Yep. Now, where was he at? Pam Bondi. We got Pam Bondi.
Protecting Trump. So basically, Trump can sue the federal government for $10 billion, and his own people at the Justice Department would be the ones deciding whether to settle it. And when Jamie Raskin asked her, she couldn't answer. I'll let you know what I think at the end about this stupidity, but let's see what she has to say.
Article 2, Section 1, Clause 7 of the Constitution is the Domestic Emoluments Clause. And it says that the president is limited to his salary in office and cannot receive any other money from the federal government while he's in office. It cannot be increased by $1. This president is the first president in U.S. history who has repeatedly sued the federal government for $230 million for the judicial search warrant at Mar-a-Lago, which was perfectly lawful and was never struck down. But now he's suing the IRS for $10 billion. He's suing the IRS for $10 billion, which I think is around 80% of its annual budget, because his tax returns were leaked. And they were illegally leaked by a private contractor who actually is in prison now, Charles Littlejohn, but he wants $10 billion. Now, I want to ask you the question of whether you think it would violate the Domestic Emoluments Clause for you to settle that $10 billion case or any of the other claims that the president has made against the government. He himself has remarked, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the deal, right? And he says, I kind of have to work it out with myself. Do you think it would violate the Domestic Emoluments Clause for the president to work out a deal from people who are his subordinates under his unitary executive theory to get money in one of these cases?
I'm not going to discuss pending litigation.
Okay, so theoretically you're saying because his privacy rights were violated in that tax case, and they were. I'm with the president on that. I mean, his Mar-a-Lago thing is ridiculous, but there's no doubt that his tax returns, despite the fact that he promised to release them, despite the fact that every other president released the tax returns, he suffered embarrassment when it showed that he hadn't paid taxes for several years, and he had a right for that not to happen. Now, I want to turn back to the Epstein survivors, because President Trump may have been a little bit embarrassed by the release of those tax returns. How much do you think the claims of these survivors are worth? As the good congressman from Kentucky just pointed out, there were lots of survivors who had decided, for reasons of their own, never to release their names. That determination was represented to people in Congress, and we built it into our federal law that their names could not be released, and yet you published their names, their phone numbers, their addresses, personally identifying information. If Donald Trump can get $10 billion theoretically from the Department of Justice, how much should these people get for a far worse violation of their privacy rights and a far greater danger established to them in their lives?
Do you even know who Chase Mulligan is? You're so obsessed with you don't.
I'm going to teach you the rules again. You're the Attorney General of the United States. We have rules here.
With him.
You're the Attorney General of the United States.
You're
The rules.
obsessed with Donald Trump. You have Trump derangement syndrome.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like my time restored. I'd like my time restored.
In your district. In your district, and you don't even know about it.
She said Trump derangement syndrome. Like, this is a new medical term now. I swear to God, if that shit is in the medical dictionary or anywhere in a hospital, someone needs to get fired and taken outside in the back of the barn. Real shit.
Time belongs to the gentleman. Predators.
Time belongs to the gentleman from Maryland. Gentleman can proceed.
Yeah, and I want the whole country to look at this. Because this is the Attorney General of the United States, whose job is law enforcement. We've never had a witness who has misunderstood our rules and been unable to
Definitely. She sounded like a bimbo.
We have only 5 minutes.
I ain't say bimbo since the 90s, bro. We old.
I'm not yielding to you right now. I'd like that second restored too. So, Ms. Bundy, the way it works is we ask you a question and you answer it. And if you go off on a wild goose chase, another tangent, you start reading statistics or you start talking about stuff going on in our district. And by the way, I invite you to my district. Come to my district, but that's not what we're here to do today. Okay? So, and you do that, then we're allowed to say we reclaim our time. At that point, you have to be quiet. You have no choice. You have to be quiet. So I hope you understand the rule of this board. Now, here's what I want to ask you. You're in law enforcement. We've seen all kinds of evidence of crimes. And when we go over to the Department of Justice for the 4 computers for every member of Congress, we see more evidence of crimes. Will you create a joint task force of the Department of Justice and governors and state attorney generals and district attorneys across the country to investigate the crimes that have taken place against these victims and more than 1,000 like them? The DOJ is not doing its job. Will you create a task force with state and local law enforcement to make that happen?
He called Chase Mulligan a wild goose chase and didn't even know who he was. He is a defendant in your own district who preyed on girls. Mr. Chairman.
Well, you know what? If he were part
She sounded like she read it from a script. Pam Bondi read it from a script.
And committed extortion. Yet he didn't even know in your tiny little district who he
Chairman,
was.
she's embarrassing you. This is your committee, and she is embarrassing you.
on you.
Time of the gentleman has expired. I would remind the committee that last Congress, Secretary Mayorkas was here numerous times, and he wouldn't answer our questions, even when we sent them to him ahead of time in writing. So that's what we've had to deal with. I think the Attorney General is doing just fine. We have votes shortly.
All right, so if you're sitting there thinking, what the hell did I just watch? You're not alone. Trump is suing the IRS for $10 billion. In January, President Donald Trump, along with his sons Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, and the Trump Organization sued the Internal Revenue Service and the Treasury Department for $10 billion, arguing that the agencies failed to take measures to protect his tax information.
And more breaking news tonight from a Miami federal court where President Donald Trump is suing the IRS for allegedly leaking his tax returns. The lawsuit puts Trump, his sons Eric and Don Jr., and the Trump Organization up against the Treasury Department, suing for $10 billion in damages. The lawsuit claims an IRS employee leaked the Trump's confidential tax returns to media outlets, including the New York Times and ProPublica. This allegedly happened between 2019 and 2020. NBC News is reaching out to the IRS for a response.
But the IRS lawsuit isn't even the most urgent issue in that exchange.
Right.
Raskin then pivoted to the Epstein survivors. Thousands of Epstein documents were taken down after victims were identified.
Now to new fallout in the wake of the release of the Epstein files. The Justice Department striking a deal with attorneys for survivors who say their lives were turned upside down when the DOJ failed to redact some of their personal information from the files and then posted those files to the DOJ's website. Attorney Pam Bondi has acknowledged mistakes. The Attorney General saying the department has now taken down several thousand documents that may have included victims' information. Presents several Epstein survivors and former federal prosecutor Barrett Berger. So, Fallon, what do we know about this deal that was apparently reached between the survivors' attorneys and the Justice Department?
Yeah, this hearing was supposed to be happening this hour, and then late last night, Judge Berman issued a single-page order canceling the hearing, saying that the survivors' attorneys and DOJ reached a deal to resolve those privacy issues in an expeditious and reasonable way to prevent future harm. There were very few details in that order, and we have not seen anything official from the Department of Justice, but we do know what the survivors were asking for. Their lawyers had submitted a letter earlier this week saying that they needed the Justice Department to resolve resolve these issues and remove any identifying information. You'll remember that there were a plethora of material of names, photos, other identifying information that was not redacted properly. They have a list of 350 survivors' names, and they want that material corrected. So they've asked for it to be taken down and fixed, or they've asked for the entire website to come down. Now, we know that DOJ in a separate letter has said that they've removed several thousand files, pages, and that they're going through and correcting those redactions, and I would presume that they will be back.
I don't get it. I don't get it. If the fight is to get the files released unredacted and the witnesses want their names redacted, then y'all just cause a confusion. People want to see the shit unredacted. But if the witnesses is coming out, redact our names and a whole bunch of other shit, then like, what's the use of seeing these Epstein files if y'all gonna have them all redacted anyway? So and have it taken down, it's like, fuck it. This shit is a distraction.
But again, we don't know the specifics of this deal. We just know that the judge was appeased enough to cancel today's hearing.
And so, Eric, you know, it was the victims, the survivors who worked so hard to get these files released. They wanted transparency, they want accountability, and they trusted that their personal information and privacy would be protected. And now
I thought only their name was supposed to be
they say their lives have been turned upside down again. What are your clients experiencing?
Well, that's absolutely what's going on. You know, I'm not sure if it's intentional or it's incompetence, but what is very clear is that the DOJ has disregarded the well-being of the survivors. One of my clients was named 538 times in the latest release of Epstein files.
Wow.
538 times. Of course, we immediately alerted the DOJ. As of yesterday, it was down to 2 times, but 1 time is too many times.
Dennis Orsley,
So
Erica
they've
Kirk
had so much time
suggesting
to do
Erica's a
this. And it's just simple
sex-kitten monarch.
redactions. It's just redacting
Could be.
names. This is not rocket science. And the whole reason they're claiming that they're basically late, they violated the law.
The connections go too high.
To reveal these documents is they needed to redact. But what were they doing for this time? 538 times is just beyond comprehension.
That's one person.
One person. And she was not the only one of my clients whose name was released unredacted in these files. It's incompetence and it's just unacceptable.
Barrett, the judge writes that he is, quote, pleased but not surprised that the DOJ and survivors' attorneys were able to resolve this on their own. But just how bizarre is it to have gotten to this point where a judge nearly needed to get involved in protecting sex abuse victims because of such an apparent failure of the Justice Department?
I mean, redacting victim information is not an issue that is unique to this Epstein investigation. This is something that federal prosecutors deal with in every case involving sensitive victims, involving child victims, or involving sex trafficking, period. This is something that DOJ attorneys know how to do. They do it in every case that involves these kind of victims. And the fact that this information was included is so tragic for the victims because you can't unring that bell. You can't get that information out of the digital sphere. I'm glad they reached the agreement, but DOJ was facing some real risk there, both for potential civil lawsuits down the road from people who had their information compromised and potentially some sort of contempt of court. So DOJ was certainly in no position to fight this, and it's promising that they reached a settlement as quickly as they did with the victims' attorneys.
I mean, some survivors say they've been getting death threats after their private information was left unredacted.
What?
So you
That's a
can't
damn
send
lie.
toothpaste back
That's the
into
government doing
the New York
that.
Times
Government
found
doing that.
dozens of uncensored images of naked women with their faces visible. The Associated Press found multiple incidents where names and faces were obscured in one document.
Like I said, I don't fucking get it. Y'all wanted all the files out. I don't fucking get this shit. This is all confusion to me. I do not fucking get it. So it's just like you're going to redact the names. Oh my fucking God. We supposed to motherfucker know, right? I thought y'all wanted to put it out there to motherfucker let it be known. But I don't get it. I don't get it. So we want the files unredacted. They bring them out unredacted. The witness is tripping. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking get it. I muted out how I sound now. I should sound good now, hopefully. All right, bet it up. I guess we'll talk about some real shit. They're kicking me out. My own shit. All right, I think I got one more. I think that was it. What was this? No. It was something. Where was it? I think I got one more, probably 2 more. Wait, it was nope. I think that's probably it. I think I probably got one more, but I can't find it. What's this?
That's a wrap.
Nope. That ain't it. I got a clip by mistake. I guess we'll go. Right here.
In 2026 has effectively become a humiliation ritual. For those of you who don't know me, job searching in 2026 has effectively become a humiliation ritual. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jet. I'm currently a senior in people that would be looking for a job. All of my peers, people that I grew up with, are also in the same boat as me, and we have talked extensively about this idea. Did you know that the average person nowadays has to send 1,200, you didn't mishear me, 1,200 job applications before they land a job? The average 40 years ago was 3.
Yep.
The economy is going to shit, and we all intuitively feel this, and it's been going this way for quite some time. The funniest part about it, right, is that you send in these resumes nowadays, and humans don't even look over the resumes.
Right.
Instead, it's some sort of AI that's looking for keywords, right? And so to combat this, what people do is they use AI to create their own resume because they want, for whatever specific industry they're going into, they want AI to make sure that the correct trigger words are on there. So in other words, if you can't seduce an AI,
Right.
then
God, I hate
you're not
ads.
getting a job, right?
Bullshit.
And so now we have AI talking to other
Yeah.
So in other words, if you can't seduce an AI, then you're not getting a job,
looking for
right?
Michael
And
Obama.
so now we have AI talking to other AI.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
AI
welcome to
talking
late stage
AI.
capitalism. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Then you're not getting a job, right? And so now we have AI talking to other AI. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to late stage capitalism. I mean, it's just ridiculous, is it not? It's comical. I would love to laugh about it, but I'm in the shit right now, right? Like, it's so ridiculous. And every part of the process is completely in favor of these corporations because some of them will try to detect if you used a
400 apps submitted, 0 interviews. I told you from that last video, dude, that pipeline is over with.
AI on your resume, and then they'll say, well, listen, we used AI to look over your resume, but the fact that you used AI on your resume, that's a no-no. And so you're no longer an applicant anymore.
Just my.
Let's talk about ghost jobs for a second here,
Ghost
too.
jobs,
I'm just
yeah.
going to be all over the place in this video, but just bear with me here.
Let's go.
There are literally fake jobs that companies will put out there so that they seem more desirable and like they're hiring.
Let's take your day.
And it's so disrespectful. And to do that from the position of power, like the corporations have the power, is beyond me. It's so ridiculous. One of my good friends, he's 2 years older than me. So he graduated last year. So it's been a little over a year in the job market, a year and a half. And this is legitimately the individual with the most agency out of anyone that I know. So like, he's very proactive. He constantly like takes control of his own life, right? And he has KPIs that he does every day. So he has to submit a minimum of 4 applications every single day. He's never missed a day. And he like does, among many other things that he does. But, you know, smart guy. He's nothing over the top. He's nothing like, he's no crazy good candidate, but he's bare minimum average, maybe a little bit above average, and then he works really hard. So shouldn't a guy like that, the average guy, be rewarded with, you know, a decent job? Is that too much to ask for?
Right.
Yeah, apparently it is.
Yeah.
And in about 4 to 5 years, I'm going to say, not even. I don't know if you guys have seen Claude. It's getting pretty scary, but AI will take over.
Another one. Do you see Claude keeps getting mentioned? I'm not fucking joking when I say if you don't know, you're way behind, dude. Everybody keeps bringing up Claude. I've been telling you
I'm gonna
guys.
hack their ass and kill them.
Damn.
Only reason that AI hasn't already taken over is because they don't understand how to manage the liability of AI. So AI, like I just mentioned, Claudebot, it's just a virtual assistant. It can pretty much do anything for you. I'm considering actually buying it myself to try to help me with trying to make money online. But essentially, it can do the majority of basic jobs, and then like, let's see, it's advancing at a faster rate than ever before. So in 1 year from now, AI could potentially do 90% of desk jobs, like jobs that are done on a computer. And at that point, the only thing that's stopping the implementation of this is liability. How do these companies control, like, who do they blame? Because if a doctor has malpractice, then they're like, hey, like, you know, you're getting in trouble for that. Or like if a member
No, dude, these apps like Claude are not going to get removed or suppressed. The military's using this stuff. The government put a moratorium 10 years where they cannot be regulated in any way whatsoever because we're trying to beat China to this. If anything, they're going to explode in capability and usage. This is a race. This is like a zero-sum game that we're in against China. There is no slowing this down. It's not stopping and it's not getting regulated, period.
Of a hedge fund is, fucking up. Like they have like tracking abilities on this. And so that person could be punished. With AI, it's like, oh, this went wrong. Like who do we fire? Who do we hold accountable? There really isn't one. And for a lot of larger companies that are handling a lot more critical information, such as people's like, money, their financial, like how they're getting paid through their bank account, whatever, like you're sitting at very high risk situations. And oh my gosh, don't even get me started on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the fakest place on earth. Everybody, it actually seems like people are selling their soul on LinkedIn. Like, no bullshit. The posts from people that I grew up with, like friends of mine, I'm not trying to judge, but it's like, oh my gosh, everybody's a pussy. But at the same time, I don't even blame them. I do not blame them because they need a job, but it seems like they're selling their soul just to get a job that they don't even want. And that will be taken over in 4 to 5 years time. It is a joke. It's a joke. For those who don't know me, and maybe you just clicked on this video because you saw the title and you related, I do social media. I just started in October of this past year, so it's been like 6 months, right? Or like 5 months, okay? I now have a greater asset in...
It's funny, like are working. I'm over here right on the app, literally trying to figure. I'm doing a gateway test right now for speed. All of a sudden, it says, "Boys, I have 2.5 gigs download." Damn. Okay. So why can't I do this shit on Kick then?
My social media following, I have like around 300K on Instagram and like 550K on TikTok. I have a greater asset in my social media following. By the way, I seriously don't mean that. I'm not saying that to brag or be cocky at all. I'm just saying that
Get the fuck out of here, nigga. You bragging to be cocky, nigga. You been on this bit for 6 months and you got traction because you pandering to the paradigm. Nigga, fuck on out of here. That's the only way to get bread. That's the only way to get the views. Pandering. But what you're saying is some real shit about the job market. But bitch, I'm the shit over there, but I'm nothing over here. Fuck on out of here, bro. But what you're saying is some real shit about the job market and the ghost jobs and the LinkedIn and all that shit. That's some real shit. But let's keep going. Fuck TikTok. They got rid of my 6 TikTok. That's what being honest and telling the truth. And fuck Instagram for taking away my lives, nigga. So like that's how I know you pandering because you keeping your motherfucking shit.
Example here, it's a greater asset to me than my degree will be when I graduate at the end of the semester. It legitimately is, which is why I just told you guys I'm trying to do clog block because I want to tell it out. I want it to show me how I can make money online because right now I'm making no money at all besides like what I get paid for views. And anybody that knows like TikTok, it is like terrible. I've gotten like over 300 million views on TikTok and I haven't even been paid like $1,000 or something.
Wow.
300 million views, guys.
So if I would have got 300 million views, I would have never got paid either. Thank God I'm not on TikTok.
It might actually be more than that. Yeah. Actually, it could potentially be a lot more than that. But like, it's just so bad. Instagram, I get paid no money from. Like, you don't get paid for views at all. At least maybe you could, but I'm getting too sidetracked right now. What I want to say is that it almost seems like you could be working your butt off in college, or maybe you already have a job, but it's entry level and you're trying to work your way up. But it's what are we doing it for? Because
upload speed's 105 megabytes. That's enough for one stream.
We're just going to get replaced by AI. And these companies, these corporations, I don't need to convince you. You guys know they don't care about you. They don't. This is all you are to them. You're an asset. You make them money. The average employee makes a company 4 times what their salary is. That is a fact. So
damn.
It's a humiliation ritual, guys. For the first time ever, the average age of a new hire is 43 years old. That's the highest it's ever been in American history, I believe, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
Do you know how messed up that is? Shouldn't it be your college students? People aren't going to be able to retire. And with inflation, you work really hard right now. You get paid, let's say you get paid $30 an hour. Well, $30 an hour in 20 years from now is going to be worth the equivalent. Well, $30 an hour in 20 years from now is going to be worth the equivalent of maybe $10 an hour. And then in another 20 to 30 years, when you would retire, it's going to be worth a few dollars.
The problem is he's not doing it correctly. Okay, listen, view payouts on TikTok are ass. And I don't even know what Instagrams are at, but whatever. YouTube's the only thing that pays good for AdSense.
5,000.
The point is, if you got 300 million views and you don't have a TikTok shop or affiliate links, you fucked up. The heavy hitter money comes from TikTok shop and affiliate links, selling things.
Yep.
If you just did 0.5% sales.
What's good? What's good?
Off of 300 million, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars on something.
So when they promote you, it's not even them promoting you. It's just saying, well, so inflation increased by like 7% and your promotion is going to give you an extra 2-3%. So you're going to be happy, right? No, you're actually like not even leveling out with the market, with the value of the dollar. Dude, like it's such a joke. I'm saying this stuff out loud and I'm like, is this even real? Like, I can't believe this is real. It's ridiculous not to believe that AI can't take your job. I know a lot of people like hate AI and all this stuff. But you have to like live in the real world and try to plan accordingly to like what's going on. Like this is game theory optimal, right? Like you got to figure out the game and then like try to position yourself in the best spot.
No,
so
you EMP that
Naval
shit.
Ravikant, he says that the future it's all going to be about creation. So you need to create something. It doesn't need to be content creation like what I'm doing right now, but you have to create a business. You need to create a skill set that's going to be valuable for something because AI is going to be able to automate most things. It's your best bet to plan accordingly. And I feel like it's a better use of my time to try to figure out how these AI systems work. And I'm not talking ChatGPT that's going to help me complete my homework, or for the people that are already working, write a email to one of your coworkers. I'm talking about like the actual beauty of AI, which is that it can write code. So you don't, as long as you can speak English, you can now create software. And whether that's an app or whether that's a website or whether that's just like a service in general, if you can create something good enough, then you can be your own boss. Yep. And there's talks in the air of what is referred to as universal base income. If you're unfamiliar, let's say that AI comes in and it takes all desk jobs. So now unemployment is 50%. Then Elon Musk is saying in 7 years' time, we'll have robots that can be mass produced that will take over most labor intensive jobs. So now we're looking at unemployment in the 90s, potentially more. I've heard experts say 98, 99%. If you can't find a way to get into the class of elites, which most people can't, me and you, let's be real, most likely won't.
Don't get trolled, bro. Let him troll.
Then it's just going to be a two-faction system like in the movies. You used to have the upper class, the middle class, the lower class, right? Or I like to call it the working class in the middle. Now you have the upper class, which owns like 30 to 40% of the wealth, and it's 0.01%. There is no middle class. The working class is just like the bottom, like 99%. Because let's say you're a lawyer. At this point, I'm just rambling about the economy and not even just the job market. But let's say you're a lawyer. You are still putting in 60 hours a week, which is the same as the Amazon single mom that works at Amazon for also 60 hours a week to just try to support. And so don't get me wrong, the lawyer's going to make a lot more money, but you have to look at things in terms of how much effort and time are you putting into this stuff. It's ridiculous. For those who don't know, the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks, they have words for it. One's like odium, that's what the word is. OTIMU, I think. Or IUM, whatever it is, okay? It basically means like leisure time, but not in like you're lazy way. It's more in like you're going to do fruitful things like connect with your community, read, write, philosophy, whatever it is, okay? So back in the day, you were rich the less that you worked. That was the signal. And so the Romans and the Greeks both believed very much that your life is not about, just like working. So I've made another video on my channel where I say only a slave quantifies its existence through productivity. We've created a hustle culture.
Oh, that was a bar right there. Only a slave quantifies its existence through productivity. I like that. That's really what it is. Your value is your productivity. That's slop. That's goy thinking right there. It's true. If the basis of your worth is how much you could produce at your job, you're cucked out of your fucking mind.
Yep. All right. I just came across something. I wasn't suspecting to do this, but came across some extra news. Computer set me up. Here we go. Now my shit fucking up. Oh, damn, they won't let me do this last video. Jesus. Yeah, I should be back now, hopefully. So I was about to talk about Bill Clinton. So people live off the universe. You already know. Yeah, no, they wilding. I hope y'all hear me now. I got one more. Back again. Bill Clinton.
Of course, Bill Clinton's the first former president in U.S. history to be subpoenaed before a House committee. President Donald Trump responding from the White House a short time ago.
I don't like seeing him deposed, but, they certainly